Yes, folks. So you heard me, Andy Kanter from CIEL and OCL, and actually I was first here in Kenya in 1978. So that was my first trip to Kenya, and I've been here a long time, and I'm very happy to be back. So I'm actually making a presentation for another organization called TeqIT, who was working with us in OpenMRS to demonstrate this particular project. So next. So TeqIT is a nonprofit that's really designed to bring together the internet in sort of an ecosystem way from the bottom up. And TeqIT is a platform that uses a workspace idea to collaborate with different kinds of applications. Sorry, go back. And that we're looking to try to figure out how can we interact with the EHR without actually having to go into the EHR. So I don't have to leave my workspace, what I do every day, to interact with the EHR. I can keep my email, my voice messaging, my Zoom meetings, and yet when I need to go into the EHR, I can go into the EHR. And they're specifically looking for work in Rwanda, so if this interests you in Rwanda, we're looking for collaborators. Next slide. So the idea here is that there's multiple different patient data in multiple different places that I might need to interact with. And that the desktop area in light green interacts using FHIR and change data capture to trigger messaging to this desktop and being able to access data using FHIR, for example, within another framework or an app. Next. So this is kind of what it looks like, TeqIT. On the side here, you can see it has all sorts of things. You can launch apps. You can do it has a built-in Zoom type interface. It has a collaborative whiteboard plus instant messaging and all the rest. And then on the right, you can see that there's different ways to interact. And so the obvious way, first, next, is simply to just open 2.x. You can actually open it up inside of a window within nothing big there, right? Next, you can do the same thing for 3.0. And this is just ease of login and access. But what we were really interested in is what could we do for workflows and improving collaboration around patient data by actually pulling data out of the EHR and putting it back into the EHR. And so that's the real experiment. And this is a live demo. We can make sure we can make access to you. But here's, for example, a desktop that allows you to access which API, the 2.0 or 2.13 API or the version 3 API. Next. So when you actually go in right now, it's a very basic interface. You can just search for a patient ID. You can imagine in the future other ways that you might actually access the patient data from an email where you had a request. There could be a need for medication renewal, or perhaps you need a referral. So you go ahead and enter the data, and it opens up a FHIR, basically a window that's being populated by FHIR. As you can see, there's medications, patient information. If you just click through a couple. We'll go back. Okay, this is good. So once you have that data in the within the TeqIT environment, this allows you the opportunity to interact. And so here's an example where I might be viewing this particular patient, and I have a question, and maybe I need a specialist, or I want to just ask an administrative question. I can actually go ahead and I am the person who I need to have this information to. Now, they don't necessarily have access to this data yet, but you can share that patient context with them. So if they have approval to actually see the patient, they can actually go right to the page, right to the information that you were interested in, that you wanted them to see, to ask a question. In this case, I want to add should I make an appointment for this patient? Next. Within the environment, so I'm not in the EHR, I've got the data out, I'm actually going to create an appointment for this patient within the TeqIT platform. And then when I close that patient information, it's going to go back into the OpenMRS EMR. So the thought being that in the future, you could imagine specific workflows that are actually maybe quite challenging within the normal EMR environment, because you have to go multiple steps down to find the medication renewal. You could actually deep link, essentially, go right to the medication renewal, show the context of the patient that's necessary, renew the medication, and having that going back to the EMR. So that's the idea. We're looking for really interested collaborators. This is Vidya Sri, the person you should contact. You can also contact me, and I can forward you to them. But thank you very much. It's a really exciting opportunity.